Hey, it's Dan, your biker in the kitchen. I'm going to do a little more wrenching today, kind of continue the series I started a few weeks ago on the changing of the, where are my arms here? There we go. On the lights on the Roadking. I put the passing lights on and they didn't have the main headlight. Well, I've finally gotten that. I'll tell a little bit more about that story, but we're going to install that today. So this is the box as it came. So we open it up. First thing we see is some basic instructions, kind of like I like it, 1-page pictures. There really isn't that much to install on this thing. Looks like it's good packaging. Got a foam insert there, foam circle. That's the unit. It's actually already got the mounting bracket mounted to it, and there's a couple extra cables to make it plug and play with a wider variety of motorcycles. I don't think I'm gonna need these, but we'll find out. You can also see with the lights off that I went with it's a black motorcycle, so I went with the black passing lamps, and I had the clear headlamps, so that doesn't look very good when the thing's just sitting there. So another reason for urgency. All right. Step one is we need to remove the beauty ring here, and that's all that is. It doesn't hold anything in or anything. And there's a screw down underneath here. And we're just going to remove that. All right, once the screw is out, then the beauty ring just kind of, there's some spring pins or clips behind it, but it just pops off like that, and there goes one of the clips. And this is the inside of the beauty ring. These are the clips. That one just fell out, but they're just put in there with friction, and it's holding this rubber, gasket in. So I've got the one in my hand here. They just position around. This is the hole in the bottom of it, so that's the bottom of the unit. So they're just holding in this gasket, which is very important. So I'm just going to put it back, and I'm going to put it right here where my finger is. Alright, so now we're going to remove the old headlight. And we've got the whole bracket mounted to this one already, so you want to be careful. Let me set this down. You want to be careful not to mess with these screws. These are your adjustments and mounting just for the headlight. We're going to pull this whole bracket off the back. So we're going to take these small screws out and remove this whole thing and replace that all, because the depth of the LED is different than the depth of the halogen lamp. So we're going to pull that out. Alright, I'm down to the last screw, which I left to be one of the top ones here, so the whole thing is hanging by the one screw. So obviously you don't want to drop this on your bike, on your fender, do anything that's going to do any damage. Most good mechanics actually cover all the painted parts before they start. I'm not that good at mechanics, so I didn't do it, but I should have. I suggest that you do. Put a towel or a cloth or a blanket or something over your painted parts, so in case you do drop anything, it doesn't damage your parts. I'm going to pull this last screw out carefully and hold the light in place as I do it. And I know it's kind of dark. It's nighttime out here because it's Arizona, and the only time you can work in your garage is at night. So I apologize for the lack of light, but basically we've let this come down, just hanging by the wire, which it really shouldn't be. But on the halogen, these are your two light bulbs. So this is your main light, and that's your high beam. And rather than try to disconnect these wires and try to hold this in place, I'm just going to pull the bulbs out of the housing and then take the wires loose from the bulbs. And then that's what that looks like. Those bulbs I got so much reflection in here, sorry. Those bulbs just quarter turn out of these two holes right here. And that removes the whole unit. So now you don't have the weight of the unit while you're trying to unplug the bulbs from the wires. Alright, so I've cheated a little bit and I've pre-loosened these already. So we're going to pull the two bulbs off, which are two clips on the side that you push in on, and then you pull the bulb out the end. That just releases the bulb. that aside. And you got the low beam and the high beam, so you need to pull them both off. All right, and they got two little pins in there. Now, I am going to need to use one of the cables, which is this one here. Those two cables are going to connect to these two here, and then this end is going to connect to the new headlight. Okay, so that way you can shift from your low beam to your high beam. All right, so I've got them plugged in, and it's not quite the same fit as the Harley stock, so you make sure you push them in until they click. If you just push them in, they feel a little bit loose, but if you push them in until they click, they're good and tight. And then this end is going to plug into the new headlamp. All right, a few things. I just put two screws in. I plugged the wires in, put two screws in. I'm just going to let it hang there because I've been burned a million times before, so I'm going to test this before I put any more screws in and make sure A, it works, and B, the low beams are the low beams and the high beams are the high beams and all that good stuff. So let's give it a quick test here. All right, as you can see, I've pulled the light lamp back out because it didn't work when I plugged it in, and the reason it didn't was to do with the wires here, the low and the high. They with the light bulbs, they're keyed. They only go in one way, but with these here, they can go in reversed. So make sure you look at the wire color and get black to black on both of them. You know, as you can see, the one says the sticker's up on this one and the sticker's down on the other one. So I just figured sticker up on both, and that assumption was wrong. So make sure you match up the wires black to black on both the low and the high. And just to prove it, I'll flip it on here for you real quick. But you can see that's on now, and that's the high beam on and off. So we know that's working right, and we can plug it in. And just to pick up where I left off before I discovered the difficulty with the wiring, you know, I had the lamp mechanism hung by the two screws. I just put the rest of the screws in. Put all the screws in loose first before you tighten any of them down so your holes all line up. Put the beauty ring back on, tighten the bottom screw, and that job is done. It's kind of a useless shot, other than I guess you can see the color is all the same. Shooting into light is, with a camera phone, is not that easy to do. So I don't know if it really tells us anything or not, but I'm going to shut the lights off actually outside and go out to my garage door and point this at it and make sure they're aimed right. Alright, I live in suburbia and I shut my external lights off on my house. This is about as dark as it gets, unfortunately, because light scatters everywhere. But I'm just going to turn on headlights. So that's just the low beam. And if I flip on the high beam, you see it kicks it up right there on the top. It's a ton brighter. I don't know that the light scatters as much, which I think is the point of this thing. But you can see that gets intense on top there. And then with the running lights on, you know, that fills in the bottom. So that's kind of what those are intended to, is to help you watch the ground and let people see you coming. So that's what it looks like here. Okay, that project is done. So what's the final verdict, you say? Was it worth the $200 I spent to upgrade from the stock halogen lamps to the LED? In general, I think it's worth doing. Everything else seems to be better. The color of the light's better. It looks better, you know, with the lights off, as far as having the black in the chrome, you know, matches more of the motorcycle. So that's my personal preference, but I think it looks better. Polycarbonate covers on the lights, so that's always a plus, especially in Arizona where your rocks are flying through the air all the time. And the rest of it comes down to the longevity of the lights. You know, the LEDs have really long lifespans and probably will outlast the bike. I hesitate to post pricing because prices change so often, but just to give you an example, I did put them down here as to what they are today. Harley's really expensive. The company from Amazon was very inexpensive. You know, I bought everything LED, and I bought the company from Amazon XPCTD. I wouldn't hesitate to buy the inexpensive ones. They seem very good. If you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. Make a comment down below. Subscribe. And tell your friends. And I will see you later. The Biker, I'm out.